Alright guys, so we're going to start on our project. We're going to create our files and add the HTML for at least the nav bar and hopefully style it in this video. We're also going to add the favicon to the tab. So in the previous lecture, you should have a zip file called image resources, and what you're going to want to do is create a folder. I called mine news grid. I created an IMG folder and I put all of the images in here. Okay, so as far as images, we have the logo.png, which is the main logo. We have a logo light PNG for the footer. I also include the PSD, which is the Photoshop file in case you guys wanted that. And then there's an icon.png, which is just the icon, and we're going to use this to create a favicon. And then we have the showcase or featured.jpg, which is the featured article in the showcase area, and then a folder called articles with all the other images. So once you get those, let's go ahead and let's create our files. So we're going to create index.html. We're going to have an about.html. And we're going to have an article.html, which will represent a single article. And then let's create a folder called CSS. Inside CSS, we'll have a style.css, and we'll have a mobile.css. Okay, and we can close all of this except for index.html, and let's open up style CSS. Okay, so let's add in our boilerplate here, and for the title I'm just going to say news grid, and let's say latest news. Okay, and let's link our style sheets. So we'll say link, and let's do CSS/style CSS, and then under that we want our mobile CSS. So I'll copy that down. Let's change this to mobile CSS. However, we only want this to show if the screen is 768 or less, so we're going to add a media attribute and say screen and max width 768 pixels. Okay, now we're also using Font Awesome, so let's head over to fontawesome.com and let's say start using free, and then we're going to grab this link and put it right above the style.css. Alright, so let's take care of the favicon. Now what I usually do is I use a service called Dynamic Drive. I've used this literally for about 8 or 9 years. So if you search for Dynamic Drive favicon, you'll get this link here. It's actually tools.dynamic.drive.com/favicon. And what happens here is you can upload an image. So we're going to grab the icon.png and then click create icon, and it will generate a favicon.iso file or ICO file. So we want to download that, and let's go ahead and grab that. I already have one here, but I'm going to grab that and copy it, and then let's bring it over to our root folder. Okay, don't put it in the image folder, put it in the root. So we'll paste that in, good. And then all we have to do is add this little snippet here, this link to the favicon, and we'll place that right here. And I'm just going to remove the slash because it will give us some issues if we just open it with the file system. It won't display. So let's remove that. And that's it. Let's save. Let's open with live server. And if you don't see the favicon here, you need to just clear your cache. Well, at least I do because I've already done this. So I'm on a Mac, so I'm going to do Command-Shift-R, and it will reload. If you're on Windows, I believe it's Shift-F5. And now you can see the favicon displays in the tab. Okay, so it's as easy as that. So now let's start to add some markup. First thing is the nav bar. So we're going to have a nav with the ID of main nav. And let's put a container in here to contain everything to the max width that we're going to set. And then we're going to have our logo, so image with the class of logo. It's going to go to image/logo.png. And for the alt, I'll just say news grid. And then under that, we want our social media icons. And this is going to be a grid. I'm going to set this to grid. Normally, I'd probably use Flex for this, but I really want to focus on the grid system here. So each one of these will be grid items. All right, so let's create, actually, let's give this div a class of social, and then we're going to have a link with, we'll do a link, and we'll just set this to go to Facebook. Obviously, this would be their Facebook page, but this is a fictional website. And then inside here, we want to put we'll put an I tag with the class of FA, and it's actually going to be FAB. The social media icons have a class of FAB instead of FAS. And then this will be FA-Facebook, like that. Okay, and we're going to also add a class of FA-2X, which will make it larger. And then since this is an external website, let's add target equals underscore blank, which will open it in a new tab. All right, so let's take this and let's copy this down 3 more times, and we're going to do Twitter. Let's change this to Twitter, the icon, and then this, I'm going to do a command Control D so that I can choose the next iteration of Facebook, and I'm going to change this to Instagram, and then I'll select this one, Control D, and then let's do YouTube. All right, so if I save this, we should see this, okay? And don't worry, we'll make this look better. The last thing we need in this container is going to be our links, or our list with the links. So let's do a UL, LI, let's say A. I'm actually going to give this a class of current because I want the current page to be highlighted. So let's say class current. It's going to go to index.html. And let's say home. Okay, we'll copy this down, and let's say about. Change this to about.html, and let's clear this class. All right, so it's going to look absolutely horrible for now. In the next video, we're going to start to add some of our core styles, and then we'll style the nav bar.